may be good enough for his first ever PGA Tour win. He'll have to wait. Sensational performance. He was 12 shots back after 36 holes. Just made the cut. Now he's made history. Cameron Champ's going to need some serious luck. Buried lie here, Kurt. Yeah, chop it out and hope that it gets to the hole somehow with tumble. They usually do want to run out, but that was just really stuck in that lip. His chances of winning are coming to an end. We go to 18. 19 already posted. Ryan Blum at 17 needs to hold his shot. Good target. Got something right there. Yeah, exactly. That's pretty good. Let's see on that. 197. I don't think he caught all that tee shot. It came off kind of low. It almost looked like he caught it with the neck, really. Stranger things have happened. He'll need to work something from the middle of the green, from left to right. Still fighting for a top 5 finish. Now Webb Simpson needs birdie. 145 to the front. Yep. Okay. You good? Yep. 156. Paul sort of coming in and just making sure that his man is completely committed to this shot. This is a 9-iron, and I think this is a really comfortable one from just like a driving range, really solid one. Probably carry the bunker by a couple of yards, maybe 5 yards, and then one hard stop. No report. There's 54. Just a small yard short. Very plain number. Yep. Good commitment. And just a slight downhill lie as well, so that'll help kind of get a little less loft on the club to get that 9-iron there as well. Wind pushing just slightly out of the left. To tie Patrick Rogers for the lead. Playing off the downslope, trying to just squeeze it against the turf. Not much of a divot there. Webb Simpson doesn't hit down into it very sharply, and that was a great shot there. Give himself with a chance. This was earlier at 17. Cameron Champ for par. Now that's going to take him out of any chance of winning. Disappointing bogey late in the tournament. Now Charles Howell, what did you see on this one, Kurt? I just didn't see a whole lot, Matt. And you know, it's 4 feet 10 inches from the hole according to shot length, and this is one of those lengths right at 5 feet. The tour players practices kind of a putt 1,000 times a year, so he's made a bunch of them, but never a more important time than now. For share the lead. He hit it hard enough. This team of the car, we have 2. Patrick Rogers with a 62 in the house. Charles Howell playing the last.
Once again, driving is wonderful. Starting under $36,000.
Comcast Business built the nation's largest gig speed network. Then went beyond traditional TV to TV on any device. Gig-fueled apps that exceeded expectations. Comcast Business, beyond fast. Traders are always looking for advantages. The smart ones look to Fidelity to find them. Our exclusive platform combines 10 research, monitoring, and trading tools in one. So you can do it this way, or everything you need to make smarter trading decisions with Fidelity.
FootJoy presents the pros on the redesigned Pro SL. I wear them for the sport. They just so comfortable. Love the traction, love the stability.
I have to say, they're pretty stylish. And that's coming from me, Ian Coulter. I guess you could say I put the pro in Pro SL. Wait, I thought I put the pro in Pro SL.
Hey, wait a second.
Did Adam just say he put the pro in the...
Well, that's all the time we have for today.
The movie almost took the world by storm. And now you can explore the set. Check out the Visitor Center. Snorkel in the largest coral reef ever built for a motion picture. Even the God of Thunder couldn't do in these conditions. Come down and say hi.
Intensity written all over that face. This putt for birdie to tie for the lead here in the final round of the RSM Classic. Webb Simpson. It's coming down the hill to quick one, but I don't think everybody's concerned about speed right now. This has got to go in, obviously. That's a tough read, though, Rich. Justin. Gotta marry the speed and the break perfectly here. Yeah, we just saw Patrick Rogers make a putt from a similar line. This from 9 feet. A little too hard to take the break. Simpson's chances dashed there at 18. Now Charles Howell tied for the lead. Birdie to win. Drove it perfect. Here yesterday, the wind is helping from the left. Down the left side, should be left center. Charles Howell, we have not seen in a long time. You think of Charles Howell, you think of a player who's mechanically inclined, technically sound, but not gritty. We're seeing grittiness and then some. So, notable players to have ended lengthy victory droughts. And we saw one this morning on our air with Danny Willett, Masters champion, winning in Dubai, the season ender of the European Tour. Matt Kuchar last week. Paul Casey also winning Innisbrook, first victory in 9 years. Who knows, maybe Charles Howell, who hasn't been in those victory in 9 years. And who knows, maybe Charles Howell, who hasn't been in the winner's circle since 07. Now Luke List. He keeps knocking on the door. I am currently in a tied for 5th. Yeah, just it was a putter got let him down on the back 9 today, guys. He gave himself too many opportunities. That's what he finished there.
Yeah.
A lot of our analysts point to him as a guy who will break through to another level at some point. He still hasn't won. Appears nice and relaxed. That's a good spot to be in right there. Not yet sitting pretty. It all depends on what Charles Howell III does. Good drive, Howell birdies, and he wins. Today's coverage is brought to you by RSM, Audit, Tax, Consulting for the Middle Market. The Ping G700 irons, the new standard in distance technology.
families are discovering the excellent care received for loved ones at the all-new Henderson Funeral Home and Crematory. The expandable chapel has seating for up to 350 guests, and there's a spacious community room with kitchenette for after-funeral meals and memorial services. There are no steps to climb and off-street parking for 100 cars. Beacon's only on-site cremation facility has fitting memorials for all. Greg and Marla welcome you to the new Henderson Funeral Home and Crematory in Beacon.
It's all happening. Jack, why don't you go take a break and do some push-ups? All right, boys, we heard rules of Chevys. What's the best deal you have on a brand new Equinox? Up to $7,500 off a brand new Equinox. That's fantastic. What do you have? You have $13,500 off of every single 2018 Silverado crew cab in stock. That is a mouthful, but I love the savings. Well, you know one thing, folks. You know you gotta go green. This is how you one-stop shop. Save on tools for all the doers on your list. At the Home Depot, this is how we do Black Friday. This is why. Get a free select power tool or battery when you buy qualifying toolkits at the Home Depot.
Yeah.
This is how you one-stop shop. Save on tools for all the doers on your list. At the Home Depot, this is how we do Black Friday. This is why. Get a free select power tool or battery when you buy qualifying toolkits at the Home Depot. This is how you one-stop shop. Save on tools for all the doers on your list. At the Home Depot, this is how we do Black Friday. This is why. Get a free select power tool or battery when you buy qualifying toolkits at the Home Depot.
Power Package is going to change your game.
Use promo code TV for 15% off at PowerPackageGolf.com.
Power Package is the answer.
This is not the same old deal or no deal. We have the opportunity for the contestant to negotiate.
My childhood hero was Emma Smith.
I still have to take him out of here.
Unlimited Deal or No Deal starts Wednesday, December 5th at 8 Eastern, only on CNBC. Golf Now is the fastest, easiest way to go play. Look around using your MasterCard, and you'll be entered to win $500 in free golf. There's a new chance to win each week. Download the Golf Now app or visit golfnow.com. This putt for par for Webb Simpson. 3 putts a tie, slid by. An outstanding 2018, returning to the winner's circle with his runaway at the Players. Patrick Rogers tuning up for what he hopes will be a playoff.
I want to see the highlight of that photo.
Patrick Rogers has not yet played the Century Tournament of Champions. Those 500 FedEx Cup points would be huge. He'd be exempt through 2021. Started Maui. The Players now moving to March. We go to the Masters. PGA Championship in May. Charles Howell III, by the way, born and raised in Augusta, Georgia, has not played the Masters since 2012. Rogers would be the 5th consecutive first-time winner. Austin Cook last season. A run of 6 straight at Vegas years ago. Some opportunities in the fall. Fall tournament's really beefed up. They've been good. DeChambeau with that lead eagle with the thriller in Vegas. Kuchar back in the winner's circle last week in Mayakoba.
Ah, boy.
Charles Howell III. Second shot now, the final hole, tied for the lead. Let's bring in Kurt Byron.
Yeah, right now, right there. Yeah.
They're looking for a little extra width there. They changed clubs. He's got 150 yards. They switched to a 9-iron. It's helping from the left. He's got a perfect lie. Also a little launch pad here at the end of the fairway. On this club, he can go right at it. I think he's a little left of it. At the right distance, it looks like.
Yeah, just a little deep. Leave it. Not the easiest of putts on this 18th green.
Oh.
But he's given himself a chance. Talking about that forward shaft lean. so good at that. Impact absorb with his hands.
Now, this is a guy who has long been known for his love of practice. This week, he talked about that he and his coach, Grant Wade, also technically minded spending more time on the golf course because at the end of the day, golf's not a driving range or a putting green.
Yeah, and he's talked about trying to work through some of the uncomfortable situations that he gets into on a golf course. That's something that he and Grant Wade have been working on. Getting away from the range and the golf swing, but really getting into it. And I know there's been some uncomfortable moments yesterday and especially today. And as you mentioned earlier, we've seen a lot of grit from Charles Howell today that I think it's been missing at points during his career.
Came here to Sea Island as a boy. It's potentially the biggest day of his career. It's a career that has been defined by consistency, but failing to meet expectations, either those that he set for himself or that we had for him. Because he was a superstar coming out of Oklahoma State. Greg Norman played with him back in 2001 and said, "This is the guy." Maybe a guy to challenge Tiger. You weren't around at that point. What do you remember about it?
Yeah, I played a practice round with him when he was just a high school player. Mike Holbert and I said, "Hey, I've got this kid from Orlando that you need to see." And so we played a practice round together. I couldn't believe how high he teed the ball up and yet had such a nice flat ball flight. Couldn't have been nicer. I mean, he was acting like a professional back then when he was 16 or 17 years old. And, Kurt, now Charles Howell has the honor, so he's going to go ahead and putt. I think that helps him because then he doesn't need to stand around and think about what's on the line should he make this putt.
Yeah, I was just walking up and I was looking at the putt. I was trying to read it, but I was thinking about the guys that have had so many of these chances. You won a lot, Justin. Is there anything better than getting to the 72nd hole of a PGA Tour event and having a guy have a chance to make a putt for the win?
That's all you can ask for. When you get to a tournament site, all you want is this putt right here that Charles Howell has, is this putt to win the golf tournament.
I mean, it's very makeable. It's uphill at the end just a little bit. I think he can be a little more aggressive if he chooses to be that way. I don't see much in the beginning of the putt. At the end, Justin, you may have seen some putts from this angle, but does it drop a little bit to the right?
It drops a little bit to the right, and I think the biggest tendency when you're under pressure like this is to not hit the putt hard enough. Can he hit it firm enough and get it out there to the left? As it breaks to the right, it will slow down and see if Charles can put a good stroke on this.
This putt to win.
It was dead on line.
A long time since we said that. Charles Howell, this putt to win. 4 straight birdies to close. And Charles Howell still has that chance to win a golf tournament. A good old playoff with Patrick Rogers. That was a gutsy round of 67 because he started off 3 over after 2. Head down. Still making a little pace.
Yeah, he hit a good putt. He had it on line, just a little more pace. You can see it just falls off right there at the end.
It's a good putt. He looked steady down the stretch, Justin. He looked like he belonged. And now Jason Gore. His putt for birdie. So, what would have been a dream story doesn't materialize. They'll tap for 2 over 72. Started the day, only 1 back.
Well, he said coming in here, his goal for the week would be to make the cut, maybe move up a little bit on the past champions priority list. He certainly did that, but might have grander visions after his wonderful round of golf yesterday.
Tied for 15th. Does not get into the Sony top 10. Would have qualified him for that tournament in Hawaii. Very much at peace in his life. 2 kids, 3 dogs, beautiful wife. Will go back being a spot golfer and full-time insurance guy. Cameron Champ, what'd you make of what you saw from Cameron today?
Well, the learning curve. I don't know that he necessarily made any mistakes. I think this golf course didn't allow him to use his biggest weapon, and that's the driver. The fact that he played in contention so long this week, we watched him putt. So impressive, and it'll be so exciting to watch how he comes out at the beginning of next year.
We will see him at the Century Tournament of Champions, also a late add to the shootout down in Naples. He'll play there with Kevin Kisner. But for now, we have a little bit of a shootout here at Sea Island. Charles Howell III and Patrick Rogers. Georgia boy, Charles Howell III has plenty of support here at Sea Island. Rogers has the big stick out. Either Rogers or Howell will join this list. Kevin Tway, the opener of Leishman, final round 65 in Malaysia when Koepka ascending to #1 player of the year. What a season. We all know about Cameron Champ now. Xander Schauffele over Tony Finau in Shanghai. DeChambeau. Exciting finish in Vegas. Kuchar. Welcome back, Matt. He's about to play the World Cup. We're not done yet, partner.
Absolutely. This could have gone so many different directions today. Peter Uihlein with a wonderful round had a chance. Some great storylines, and we're not done quite yet here at St. Simon's Island.
When tuning up for a playoff, if you were first in, what did you like to do?
You go over, you could see briefly Patrick Rogers and Lance Bennett. He's trying to simulate the tee shot that he's got at 18. You could see him trying to frame up a couple of trees in the distance to just kind of rehearse that tee shot again. And then it's just about keeping loose, lots of breathing, maybe, grab a little bite to eat if you need it. But it's really about just trying to keep the momentum going that he's had these last 2 days.
Most memorable playoff for you?
Well, the most memorable one didn't really turn out as well as I'd hoped, but at the PGA Championship at Whistling Straits, 2004.
You were also in another famous playoff, 99 at Carnoustie.
Yeah, I was kind of the forgotten man in that one, but I did sneak into that playoff, and that one didn't go my way either. So I won a playoff later in my career at FedEx St. Jude. But these playoffs, you've got to keep the foot down and just try what you can do to make a birdie.
This is the 3rd playoff this season. Tway won the Safeway over Ryan Moore and Brant Snedeker. Xander Schauffele at the WGC HSBC Champions. We mentioned over Tony Finau. Been waiting for this guy to arrive on the scene. Maybe it will happen in full today. We've been waiting for this guy to come back onto the stage. Charles Howell III playoff when we come back.
Once again, driving is wonderful. Starting under $36,000.
Comcast Business built the nation's largest gig speed network. Then went beyond the reliability you expect, to knowing that if the power goes out, business goes on. Comcast Business, beyond fast.
Traders are always looking for advantages. The smart ones look to Fidelity to find them. Our exclusive platform combines 10 research, monitoring, and trading tools in one. So think of it this way: get everything you need to make smarter trading decisions with Fidelity.
FootJoy presents the pros on the redesigned Pro SL.
I wear them for the sport.
They just so comfortable.
Love the
traction, love the stability.
I have to say, they're pretty stylish. And that's coming from me, Ian Holden.
I guess you could say I put the pro in Pro SL.
Wait, I thought I put the pro in Pro SL.
Hey, wait a second.
Did Adam just say he put the pro in the...
Well, that's all the time we have for today.
The movie almost took the world by storm, and now you can explore the set. The set designs are epic. The catering is incredible. Can't get this in Hollywood. Come down and say goodnight.
This fall at Topgolf, it's game on, sound on. Watch all the biggest games on all the biggest screens through all the biggest speakers. This is a game changer for game watching. Big hits live here at Topgolf.
Sea Island Golf Club, it is a fabled American resort with the cloister and the lodge, and darn good golf tournament the last 9 years, the RSM Classic. And we're headed to a playoff on a really pleasant afternoon just off the St. Simon Sound. Patrick Rogers and Charles Howell III. The Slocum winner here in 2010. Ben Crane, that red-hot putter. Never forget two gloves of final round 60 to hold up David Thompson, Jim Furyk. Georgia man Chris Kirk, 2013. Robert Streff's lone win came here 4 years ago. This is where we were first introduced to Kevin Kisner in a meaningful way. And out of Canada, Mackenzie Hughes. Austin Cook from Arkansas. He had a good week. 14 under. Now some highlights from earlier today. This is Patrick Rogers. Remember, shot 9 under 61 yesterday. Long ways, bottom of the barrel. Here he is, jumps to the number 12. This is a bonus.
This from 85 feet. Just trying to get it up there inside a 5 or 6 foot circle where he could have a good look at par. Oh, no, he does way better than that.
Face that kind of magic. 2-week Charles Howell III is for birdie at 16.
Yeah, after a really tough start. And then a huge putt there at 16.
You like this one, 17?
I love this one. This sets up well to his right to left ball flight, left hole location. Perfect club, just hammered in there to about 4.5 feet.
Rogers here, gorgeous shot in this spot at 18 for birdie, and the final 36 scoring record on score 61-62, 123. That's a 19 under. Hal birdie 15, 16, 17. This to win at 18 looks pretty good. You prefer hit first or second in a playoff, Justin?
I would like to hit first. Because you're not concerned about anything other than your own shot. If your opponent gets it down the fairway or trouble, it can affect your whole mindset. So, would love to hit first in a playoff.
Let's give you a look. It's 458 at 18 holes. Charles Howell making his way back to the tee box. All right, Justin, what's the best way to attack this hole?
Well, you've got to attack it from the fairway. You see the bunker on the right, 270 yards carries that, but if you do carry it, you're probably going to go on the hazard. Plenty of room down here to drive it. We saw Patrick Rogers get it past the cart path, but got to hit it from the fairway to attack this front right hole location. Just 6 over the edge, about 8 to carry over that bunker. And we've seen a few birdies here today. Just a gorgeous setting. Oh, it's going to be helpful to you today. Gentlemen, we're going to play 18, 17, and 18 playoff. Patrick, you finish first. Joe, if you'll hold the net, you'll let him draw first. Go for two. Okay, Charles? Okay, number. Play well. Thanks, sir. Thank you. Mark Russell of the PGA Tour fixture out here. So Charles Howell III will play first. Yep. Same rules we just played it in? Yes, absolutely. We're talking about the conditions and the wind. It's very similar to when he was on this tee 15-20 minutes ago. The wind is out of the same direction. It might be blowing a couple of miles an hour harder, but virtually the same type of a tee shot he just hit. For Charles, he'd love to just start something at the right center, maybe center the fairway and get it turning over just a touch. And they like it back there. Right side, but landed softly. It's going to be a great spot. Another good drawing for Charles Howell III. A lot of quality shots down the stretch. If you are just joining us, playoff here at the RSM Classic between that man, Charles Howell III, who has not won since 2007, and a promising young talent out of Stanford, Patrick Rogers, who shot 61-62 on the weekend to make this playoff.
And the way he birdied it the first time around in regulation, he started it down the left-hand side of the fairway, rode the wind with a little cut, and hit it past the cart path off, left himself a wedge.
Going a little right, might you? Well, soft bounce might have just gotten into the first cut, but shouldn't be in any trouble. Well, Justin, here we are, two guys who were world beaters in college. They've taken circuitous routes, Patrick Rogers and Charles Howell III. It's a big spot for both players. It really is for Patrick Rogers, a young player who won a lot of tournaments at Stanford, was a Haskins Award winner back in 2014, trying to fulfill his promise. And then Charles Howell, who's all the talent in the world, and he's starting to put some things together, maybe becoming more of a player, the player we thought we were going to see back in his mid to upper 20s, but both have a lot on the line here today. We as announcers talk about intangibles, and we've never experienced it, frankly. You have. You won the biggest events in our sport. You won the Players. You won the better part of a Ryder Cup at that great putt at Brookline. What are some of those intangibles that push talented players over the top to become champions? Well, those intangibles are having a feel for the game, working on your weaknesses, and being an all-around complete player. I see Charles Howell working on that and doing that. Patrick Rogers has all the makings, hasn't quite done it yet as a professional. Situations like this is where you find out what guys are made of. Let's go down to Aaron Oberholzer.
Thanks, Rich. I'm here at Patrick Rogers' ball, and you can see that he is in the first cut of the rough. And he's blocked out by these dunes visually, okay? He can see just barely the top of the flagstick in the distance. And that's going to be a little bit of a problem for him visually, because before he had a clear line at it. He's got 151 yards, pretty flat lie. Judging how the ball's going to come out of this first cut might be the biggest issue for him. Kurt, what does Charles Howell have?
Thank you. Charles Howell has a great lie here. He has 54 yards. The same issue with the dunes in front of him, but he's got a flag behind the stands he can aim at. I think what you're going to see here is he'll try to take that bunker in front right. He'll try to take that out of play, try to land something at least 150 yards. That takes the bunker out of play.
Yay, baby.
Another shot.
PGA Tour winners down on the ground, Kurt Byram and Aaron Oberholzer. Good crowds here. St. Simon's Island. Week started off really cold. Guys were wearing beanies, hand warmers. Thursday and Friday morning, temperatures in the 40s, low 50s. Spectacular weekend. Good finish to match.
this is the final day of the fall portion of the FedEx Cup season. 6-week break, and then we'll resume at the Century Tournament of Champions on Maui in early January. Both these guys hoping to be in that field. They are not currently qualified. It's a 20-yard difference versus the drive he hit about 30 minutes ago.
Where you can see this one here at the 18th, it blends in with a little bit of the surroundings behind the green. But that's what Patrick Rogers is looking at.
What's that? I thought so.
No, this is he is blocked out visually. This is really not that hard. I should say it's very difficult to see where he's at. He's got these tall, like cattail-like things.
Yes, perfect ball.
In this situation, guys, you want to have something you can hit hard and spin out of this line.
Shadows, thanks so much.
Especially with that pin cut so tight to that right side, just over that bunker, especially on the downslope. He can get a pitching wedge there, no problem. 151.
He's just aiming trying to hit it about 6 or 8 feet left of this whole location.
Out to the left, trying to fade back.
Not too bad. This is Patrick's first ever playoff in the PGA Tour. Charles Howell III, on the other hand, is 1-4.
As Aaron said, he's got to hit something hard, get down into it steeply to try and put some spin. Even out of this first cut, he accomplished that. But Charles Howell has a similar yardage as the first time around. He hit 9-iron then. He's got 9-iron again now. And remember, he was just slightly long. So if he hits this on the button, it should be the perfect club. He's headed a hair right. He might get a bounce. And just checked up a little bit, but he's got a good look at birdie.
Howell and Rogers, first total of the playoff at the RSM Classic.
The unmistakable Cadillac XT4. Once again, driving is joyful. Starting under $36,000.
Traders are always looking for advantages. The smart ones look to Fidelity to find them. Our exclusive platform combines 10 research, monitoring, and trading tools in one. So you can do it this way, or get everything you need to make smarter trading decisions with Fidelity.
FootJoy presents the pros on the redesigned Pro SL.
I wear them for the support. They just so comfortable. Love the traction, love the stability. I have to say, they're pretty stylish. And that's coming from me, Ian Poulter.
I guess you could say I put the pro in Pro SL.
Wait, I thought I put the pro in Pro SL. Hey, wait a second.
Did Adam just say he put the pro in the, well, that's all the time we have for today.
Ah! God!
The movie almost took the world by storm, and now you can explore the set. See the most extravagant backlots in movie history. These are genuine movie extras. Talk about movie magic. Come down and say goodnight.
This fall at Topgolf, it's game on, sound on. Watch all the biggest games on all the biggest screens through all the biggest speakers. This is a game changer for game watching. Big hits live here at Topgolf.
Live under par. A beautiful and dramatic late afternoon here on St. Simon's Island. Final round of the RSM Classic. Patrick Rogers trying to win for the first time. Charles Howell for the first time since 2007. First solo of the playoff. Rogers will be first to bring in Aaron.
Yeah, he's got a great look here, Rich. This is up the hill. He can be aggressive. One of those putts that, you know, as a right-handed player myself, I dreamt about. Even though it's not exactly one you'd call makeable, not makeable, I guess, but he can definitely be aggressive uphill, right to left, maybe 2 balls, 3 balls out on the right. The biggest thing is that he can hit it. He doesn't have to play defense on this putt.
Well, the putt he made in regulation was from the other side of the hole, but a different angle, so he won't get any help from what he saw earlier on the 72nd hole.
Now he made a lot of changes to his putting over the last year, and 2 years ago he was 123rd in the FedEx, in the putting stats, strokes gained putting. He went all the way to 9th last season. He just told me at Sanderson Farms he went back to some drills that he was doing at Stanford, and they helped huge.
This putt for birdie to apply some heat. So Charles Howell III will have a chance to win if he makes. Rogers' best finishes on tour. Runner-up twice, Wells Fargo in 15 and John Deere last year. The expectations were for a lot more. Who knows, maybe this will be the week. Charles Howell has something to say about that. Kurt, what's it look like?
When I walked by and took a look at it, it's slightly downhill coming off that fringe. The fringe is very closely mounted, so no big issue there, I don't think. It should turn a little bit to the left going down that hill. It's but he can really be aggressive with. I think he's just got to dive in there, down that hill, down green.
No, I think this is a putt that Charles Howell likes. He may have gotten a little bit of an idea what it does around the hole there from his putt regulation.
Speed is in it. Right. Second straight hole. Agonizingly close. Back to 18. Yet again, second playoff hole.
Well, he's hit 2 putts to win this tournament, and he's hit 2 good putts.
She's good. Absolutely no connection in that. But off they go to the 18th tee. Howell and Rogers in the RSM Classic.
The unmistakable Cadillac XT4. Once again, driving is joyful. Starting under $36,000.
Traders are always looking for advantages. The smart ones look to Fidelity to find them. Our exclusive platform combines 10 research, monitoring, and trading tools in one, so you can do it this way, or get everything you need to make smarter trading decisions with Fidelity.
Foot presents the pros on the redesigned Pro SL.
I wear them for the sport. They just so comfortable. Love the traction, love the stability. I have to say, they're pretty stylish. And that's coming from me, Ian Poulter. I guess you could say, I for the pro in Pro SL. I thought I put the pro in Pro SL. Hey, wait a second. Didn't Adam just say he put the pro in the... Well, that's all the time we have for today. The movie almost took the world by storm, and now you can explore the set. Check out the Visitors Center. Snorkel in the largest coral reef ever built for a motion picture. Even the God of Thunder couldn't move these conditions. Come down and say goodbye.
This fall at Topgolf, it's game on, sound on. Watch all the biggest games on all the biggest screens through all the biggest speakers. This is a game changer for game watching. Big hits live here
Come
at Topgolf.
on, man.
See the big cat take on 17 of the world's best golfers. Close up. Tiger. Throws that one in. The Hero World Challenge on Golf Channel and NBC.
About 45 minutes until sunset here on St. Simon's Island, southeast Georgia. So we figure at best 3 more holes. 1 hole into this playoff between Patrick Rogers and Charles Howell III. They're going back to the 458-yard par 4 18th hole. They both just made par. Rogers shooting 61-62 on the weekend. Come from 12 back. And now 67 today after starting 3 over through 2 holes. Howell has been really accurate this week.
Actually, it's probably slightly less breeze right now than the first playoff hole, but essentially the same type of setup, same target, same everything. They like it back there.
Say same shot.
Soft bounce. It's just in the fairway.
At this point, it just comes down to concentration. Can you keep your concentration? This many holes and this much time out on the golf course.
The answer is yes.
Bring it on. This one's going into the rough, guys.
Yeah, just gets across the cart path and maybe settle down just a little bit.
Boy, what a day so far, Justin. Big stuff between Patrick Rogers and Charles Howell III. Really, you applaud what Charles Howell has done. He's heard it over and over again. He wins money, but he doesn't win tournaments. And he's, at least to this point, he's playing like a guy who's a winner.
Well, absolutely. And Charles Howell's anything but complacent. He's going to turn over every stone. Love the work that he's doing to put himself in situations in practice where you're uncomfortable, go through the motions of the thought process and things and how to deliver in those kind of moments. He's in one of those moments right now.
How about Patrick Rogers?
Well, just the fact that he's won in college, and he's got so many physical gifts that for him to really fulfill and kind of continue the winning ways in college onto the professional level.
Let's go down to Kurt Byron.
All right, Rich. Well, Charles Howell is in a very similar position, not quite as far down with that drive. He's got 160 yards. He still has the dunes in his way, but some good targets beyond the green up in the grandstands there. So I don't know if he's going to be able to muscle that 9-iron in there again. He might have to go with a little 8. That'll be the only difference. Aaron, how about yours?
Kurt, this is a tough lie. This is a cuppy lie down in the Bermuda grass. He's got 126 in the front, 137 to the hole, and again, he's blocked out by these dunes and the bushes that are on the dunes. It's going to be very difficult to spin this golf shot and get it close. He's going to have to do it most likely with trajectory. We know Patrick Rogers can hit it high.
Here's what's at stake. And by the way, with a win, Charles Howell III would jump to the top of the FedEx Cup standings. Rogers could go to third. Rogers, that exemption would mean a lot. Never been to Maui, the Century Tournament of Champions. The Players in March, after having been in May since 07. Howell hasn't played a Masters in his hometown since 2012.
Bingo!
Charlie's made the playoffs, but only twice has he been to East Lake in the Tour Championship. You leave the fall portion as the FedEx Cup leader with a great chance, obviously, to end up at East Lake.
Well, we talk all week about, in all fall, how important these early season tournaments are and what a boost it gives a player going into January in that West Coast swing.
More than that, it's the knowledge that you can win out here, which is amazing to say. Guys who were so good in college and how early in his career, you might doubt that. It's so competitive out here, as you know.
It is hard to win. I mean, Charles Howell is proof of that with all the tools and the consistency that he has and that he provides year in, year out. To only have won twice, I would say it's probably disappointing to himself, but he's just working hard to try and fill in the holes in his game, and he's doing just that.
Sick. Yeah.
Fully engaged now.
Yeah.
60 yards. Second shot.
Same target. Yeah, right there, the edge of that last flag on the left, or even left of that. Okay, same target and same club, but he said this is going to be a hard 9, and his caddy agreed, so that's the good news. He can go ahead and blast this 9-iron. A little left and fading.
That is a great spot to putt from, coming straight back up the hill.
Caddy is Nick Jones. They were certain of that. The hard 9. You'd rather swing full in a spot like that, hit the hard one?
Absolutely. It's very difficult when you're under the gun like this to take something off of it. When you can hit it hard and the adrenaline's going, and I think Charles and his caddy Nick Jones allowed for that adrenaline, and they planned it perfectly.
Hard to swallow in a spot like this. All right, Aaron, what's Patrick Rogers looking at?
No, he's not looking at much. He's looking at a bunch of bushes in front of him, that's for sure. Luckily, he's about 6'3" and can see over him. I couldn't. But the lie, he really took a hard look at that line, what he thought he could or couldn't do with it. This is a pitching wedge from 137. He's going to have to put this one up in the air. This one left of the flag. Excellent shot.
Under the circumstances. Playoff continues. Howell and Rogers at the RSM.
The unmistakable Cadillac XT4. Once again, driving is joyful. Starting under $36,000.
Comcast has built the nation's largest gig speed network. And went beyond the reliability you expect to know it. And if the power goes down, business goes on.
Okay.
Comcast Business, beyond fast.
Traders are always looking for advantages. The smart ones look to Fidelity to find them. Our exclusive platform combines 10 research, monitoring, and trading tools in one, so you can do it this way, or get everything you need to make smarter trading decisions with Fidelity.
FootJoy presents the pros on the redesigned Pro SL.
I wear them for the support.
They just so comfortable.
Love the traction, love the stability.
I have to say, they're pretty stylish. And that's coming from me, Ian Poulter.
I guess you could say I put the pro in Pro SL.
Wait, I thought I put the pro in Pro SL.
Hey, wait a second.
Did Adam just say he put the pro in the...
Well, that's all the time we have for today.
Just ahead of you at Golf Advisor. Only 28 two-man teams from all over the globe represent their country in pursuit of one giant trophy, the World Cup of Golf. Wednesday night, live in prime time at 7:30 p.m. Never miss a moment of the action with the Golf Channel app. Stream all your favorite tournaments live wherever you go. Download the Golf Channel app. Second hole of a playoff between Charles Howell III and Patrick Rogers here at the RSN Classic. Rogers will be first. So, Aaron, what's his putt look like?
Well, it's pretty much the exact putt that Charles Howell had in regulation to win the golf tournament. So obviously, Patrick wouldn't know what it did because he was inside his scorecard. He might have been watching on TV, who knows? If he was, it would definitely be helpful. There's a couple of green changes on the way to the hole. Back up the hill at the end, and as it dies, it will break sharply to the right, as we saw Charlie Howell's do. Justin, just got to keep that speed up.
Yeah, it's one of those putts where you've got to marry the line and the pace. The easier you hit it, the more break he needs to play. Can he get it out there far enough with enough pace?
So for the third consecutive hole, Charles Howell III will have a putt to win the tournament. Close the first two times, that's for sure. Kurt, how about this putt?
Well, I didn't have a lot of time to read it, but as I walked by, I just didn't see a whole lot. It's uphill, so again, if it does start to break at all, he's got to keep the speed up just a little bit. But I had a hard time seeing much, Justin.
No, I think this is exactly the putt you want on this green. Obviously, as you get closer to the hole, it gets easier, but putting up the hill, I just try and sneak a little bit to his left. But I think this is a very comfortable place to putt from in a comfortable distance. One that, he's not supposed to make this, but the odds are in his favor.
Charles Howell III is back in the winner's circle.
Just look at the emotion on his face.